Welcome back. I'm Leanne Caldwell. It's 5:35. This is our first Off the Floor series. We're asking members what they do, things that they do that have nothing to do with Congress, but we're also going to talk a lot about what the congressman really does when he's on Capitol Hill and the issues he cares about. I'm joined right now by Congressman Mark Pocan of Wisconsin. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So we'll just start with the thing that you do outside of the Hill.
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Since I was a kid, 8 years old, I was doing magic tricks. I paid for college, largely doing magic shows. Yeah. In fact, when I was 14, I won a junior magician contest in Wisconsin that took me to the Midwest. And at 14, I took third place against all these high school kids and everything. And so somehow I went wayward into this career. But I love doing it. We've done over 100 Magic Monday videos. We talk about Washington with a magic trick. That's all on YouTube. And
so what's an example? So what was one of your favorite episodes? Like, how did you connect magic to Washington?
Often a tax thing. One time tearing up a card and then having it kind of restored, but not all of it because of some tax bill that I think the Republicans were doing, showing that they were taking away from the average person to give to rich people.
Oh my gosh.
That was a good one. But it's really kind of the behind the scenes. The worst people to do magic tricks are members of Congress.
Why?
Because they're also used to giving orders. So when you tell them to do something, sometimes it's different than they think, they don't follow. We had one that we could never tape. It took a half hour because they were supposed to take half the cards face up, half the cards face down and shuffle them together. And somehow that concept they could not understand.
Who is that?
I can't say. One is still here, one is not.
Oh
That's all I'll say. But
they can't follow directions.
No, because they're busy giving them. So yeah, it was interesting. But
now do you have better appreciation for like Speaker Johnson or Leader Jeffries for having to try to get members of Congress to listen?
Yeah, trust me, Hakeem came in my class. I can just imagine when we get the majority what it's going to be like for him. But and also I do fundraisers for some of my colleagues. So in fact, June 1st, I'm going to up to New Haven doing an event for Rosa DeLauro. I've done stuff for Barbara Lee when she was around. I did during COVID, a bunch of virtual 3 trick sets on virtual fundraisers. So I still keep active with it, but this day gig gets in my way.
Kind of gets in the way. So how did you, were you gifted a magic kit as a kid? Is that how you got into it?
I went to the public library and I checked out a bunch of books from 793.8, which shows how geeky. That's the Dewey Decimal System code for magic.
You remember that? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have over 1,500 magic books at home. I love books, so I'm always getting new ones. Someday when I retire, I'm going to have time to read them all, but right now I'm picking them up. But
oh my gosh, I wish you had pictures.
Oh, it's a lot. But they saw me checking out books all the time, so they asked me to do a magic show. And at the time, I had a head full of hair, and I was this little kid with a cape, 10 years old, doing. There's pictures in the paper doing, magic shows. They would pay me 2 50-cent McDonald's certificates.
Wow.
So I work cheap. They like that, and.
I mean, what else does a 10-year-old need?
Right, exactly.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I can't believe they paid you.
I know. Well, then I got booked by a lot of other libraries in the area because I worked for $1.
Oh my gosh, did you do birthday parties?
Oh, I did birthday parties. I did big shows like Local 72 back home was UAW Local 72 built cars. Used to be American Motors Company. Probably 1,000 people in the room, and I remember at high school I got a standing ovation, which I still remember because it was like, here you are, high school, 1,000 people, and
that's incredible.
Yeah, at a Christmas party, but I used to keep very busy doing that. I had a van, the Magic van, that had a giant playing card, either a jack or a king. I'm forgetting a giant card, pulling out a rabbit out of a hat on one side, and all this stuff. So I was very into
your specialty?
Anything. I mean, these days, honestly, a lot. I do try to relate to Washington. So this is a little story of that's true with magic. I wanted to get on appropriations, which I now serve on. Yeah. And I knew Nancy Pelosi at the time was the leader. We had a progressive caucus dinner. I knew she was going to be there, and I was doing a little mini magic show. So I purposely did a magic trick that made you look really good at math, because I wanted her to think I was really good with numbers and math. And I can't say that it worked, but I am on appropriations.
You can't connect it directly,
no.
But did you get on the next Congress? Or
I did pretty close, right after. So yeah,
she was impressed.
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever ask her about it?
No, no. But I do tell the story to a few people because it's kind of fun.
And all of us.
Yeah,
who
and
are
everyone
listening.
else.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, who are like some of your biggest fans?
Or who do I?
Like, do you have kind of repeat customers? Like, who are the people on the Hill or outside
yeah.
who, like, in your district,
Yeah,
who love your
This
magic?
is funny. So Jonathan Jackson has had me teach him some card tricks, and he said he needs a refresher because he wants to learn. He was actually taking some lessons in Chicago, he said,
Oh,
to do
really?
magic tricks. Yeah. Jamie Raskin loves magic, and at one of the Democratic Issues retreats, he and Melanie Stansbury were both doing card stuff. Robert Adderholt on the Republican side really likes magic, and the first time I got on the Propes, I was on the agriculture. When you're from the Midwest, egg sounds like egg, but agriculture subcommittee.
The Wisconsin accent.
Yes. He and I had breakfast, and we thought it was going to be a half hour, hour and 40 minutes later, we broke apart. But it turned out he used to like magic, so he and I talk about it every now and then. And
Have you created a magic caucus?
we almost could. You know, there's someone running right now in New York State that if they get elected, they wrote a magic book when they were 15, and now they're like in the state legislature. But if they do, we almost have to.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, is it a Republican or Democrat?
A Democrat.
Oh wow, who is it?
Michael Lasher in Nadler's district.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So what sort of magic was done on Apropes lately? How's the Apropes process looking these days?
You know, in a way I call it fantasy Congress, right? We're going through the motions, but a lot of these bills are probably not going to see the light of day, at least in the House version, because we have a tendency to, in order to get them across the finish line with their narrow margin, we have to put a lot of crazy stuff for their crazy members, and they have more than a few. So because of that, you know, the Senate bill seems to be a little closer to reality. I know some of the Republicans on the committee are telling people it's likely we're going to have a CR this year, a continuing resolution.
They're already admitting that.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, yeah, a lot of them are. So given that, you know, in some ways you're going through the motions, what I'm looking forward to is, you know, hopefully making appropriations back to what it used to be when we get the majority in November. I love Rosa DeLauro. She's one of my favorite members. I shouldn't say that because now I'm picking favorites, but you know, she's just amazing. And one of the things that I think she wants to do is get us back to the way we used to do oversight, like under Dave Obey back in the day. I don't think I've seen it in my last 15 years, but the committee should and does have oversight responsibilities. We should be using them more. And you know, oversight and government reform does oversight, but they do it in a way that's a little bit more performative, and then they all run on TV to say they poked their colleague. I would rather do it in a more analytical way by looking at the finances. I think Doge cost us money, didn't save us money. It would be great to bring some of those folks in. I think Russ Vogt, you know, has broken many laws that we haven't done for 250 years in this country by stealing funds that Congress has appropriated. I think we should have that conversation. I think there's a lot we can do to make appropriations great again, I guess I refer to, my own MAGA.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of, I think, what Rosa would love to do as well.
Oh, that's really fascinating. Is there buy-in from leadership on that and from other Democrats on the Appropriations Committee?
Rosa is the best, yes.
Yeah.
And she totally wants to restore that. I think the other thing is the Senate gets so many more community-directed spending authorizations than House members do, and I think we need to adjust that because at minimum, let's have self-respect for who we are, right? And there should be some parity between the House and the Senate. But again, if there's no one better,
earmarks for everyone who.
Earmarks.
Tried to change the name. Just go back to earmarks.
I know. It would be much easier.
I know.
But you know, Rosa's probably the best suited person, given her vast experience on that committee, to do all this. So hopefully, we'll be able to then, you know, have a more respected Congress again, but actually do our jobs in a way that actually aren't just performative.
Yeah, well, as far as Appropriations is concerned, you have an amendment, I believe it is, regarding the president's $1.5 trillion spending request for the defense budget.
Yeah.
Talk about that, or reining that back in. Tell me what your idea is for that.
So about 6 or so years ago, Barbara Lee and I formed a defense spending reduction caucus to try to, at the time I think we were around, give or take, $650 billion in expenditure on defense, much of that going to contractors, not our service members. And we wanted to hold the line on that because every dollar that goes there doesn't go to education or housing or healthcare. Well, now we're at $1 trillion, and the request is for $1.5 trillion. And when you do that, it's not like new dollars magically appear. Instead, it's going to come from those other priorities that people in my district really need and in other people's districts. So when you see what Donald Trump's doing, especially with a war of choice where we're wasting literally $50 billion, a billion or two a day on a war of choice that's completely misguided, we need to speak out against that, because unfortunately, I think defense budget has become a jobs program. Everyone's got to imprint in their districts. You kind of go, oh yeah, that helps create jobs. But we should have fiscal accountability. I mean, I sound like a Republican when I say that, but we really need to have fiscal responsibility, and they never do. They've failed 8 audits in a row. We would not let any other agency do that. They can only account for about 55% of their equipment, which is ridiculous given how much money they have. That comes out of the audits.
Yeah.
And yet we all kind of go, okay, here, have another $500 billion additional in your budget. So it's one that if people really looked at objectively, I think we all would be looking at it with a more serious eye. Instead, people are like, well, there's a footprint back home, therefore, and it just kind of gets away with spending too much when I would much rather have money go to our service members than to defense contractors. Instead of their profits, we could scale some of that back and get it into healthcare and education, housing, and a whole lot more.
Have you all received anything official yet on the $29 billion cost of the war?
No, and they refuse to give us anything. I mean, this is the worst administration ever. I've been doing this for over 30 years, not Congress, but in government. I cannot understand how people just continue to look the other way on the Republican side with this guy. He's the absolute worst. It's all about Donald Trump and his family and how he can enrich themselves. And when it comes to stuff like this, they just think he's above the law. I mean, who'd have ever thought that he would steal money that Congress in a bipartisan way appropriated, and he takes it away and people would just sit back and do nothing, which is why I think people like myself look at Mike Johnson, and yes, he's got a tough job, but also he appears not to have a spine. He's a human jellyfish in some ways, because he won't stand up to the administration. And the fact that the Constitution says we're a co-equal branch of government, and he's choosing to be a subservient branch of government is a disservice to the American people, because you don't have the checks and balances that our founders intended.
There's another funding issue that you have spoken up on recently, and that's the new $1.776 billion fund for slush fund of people who they quote anti-weaponization fund. What should Congress do about that?
Well, first of all, stand up. Again, reach behind your back, and that bumpy thing, it's called a spine. You can use it, right? We don't use that too often. A few people have spoken out, but this is absolutely ridiculous. I saw Mike Lindell, the pillow guy, is saying he's going to sue for $400 million. It's like all these crazy people are going to come out of the woodwork and say that something's been weaponized. And in reality, that's our money, our taxpayer dollars that could go to many other things like healthcare and et cetera. So we're going to introduce a bill that's going to say a 100% taxation rate on whoever gets money out of there. I mean, quite honestly, I don't think it's legal to begin with, and hopefully there'll be a lawsuit that can stop it. But knowing the Trump administration, much like he tore down the East Wing before he had any permission, he'll probably start doling money out. So then hopefully we can try to get this out there to capture it back for the taxpayers.
To wrap up, Congressman, we're going to do something, the 5:35 1 minutes.
Okay.
You already answered one of the questions, which was who is your the smartest member of Congress? And you already said Rosa DeLauro.
Yeah, Rosa's amazing.
So I'm going to ask you another one.
I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business.
I ask unanimous consent. I ask unanimous consent.
The senator from Nebraska is recognized.
The gentlelady is recognized.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
If you could fix one thing, you kind of answered this too. What would it be?
No, actually, what I would do, honestly, is campaign finance reform.
Okay.
Without question. There are 15,000 lobbyists in this town. 10% are just big pharma. And you wonder why we pay more for prescription drugs in this country than any other country. But then they fund campaigns. And we watch even right now in primaries, 3 groups, AIPAC, a group that advocates for essentially Netanyahu, crypto and AI have put so much dark money into races. Unless we get rid of Citizens United, unless we get a handle on campaign finance, your own campaign could be the 6th or 7th biggest spender in your own race because of outside groups coming in. At that point, we really are like NASCAR. We should wear patches for who brought us here because we're not actually doing the campaigns like they've always been done, where you reach out to your voters and you get their support and you raise money locally. But campaign finance reform and ending Citizens United, without question, would have the biggest impact on every single issue we've talked about.
Great. Congressman Pocan, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will be right back. And next up, or later in the show, we'll have Senator Peter Welch, who sits down with our Notice congressional reporter, Paul Kane, for a look at how to reform FEMA. We'll be right back.